What's up, day, sir? I am Alan Gavila. We're going to discuss today the scalar quantities and the vector quantities. So, first, what's the scalar and the vector quantities? So, the scalar quantities is a physical quantity with a magnitude, amount, or size, but no directions. But the vector quantities is a physical quantities with a both magnitude, amount, or size, and it has a directions. So, example of the scalar quantities. So, we have an example of the scalar quantities, and it is a temperature, mass, time, distance, energy, and density, and volume. So, if you see this sample, as you can see, they have no directions, right? So if you see, we have example of numberings, or example of this amount or their mass. So like temperature have a 25 Celsius without no directions, and the mass with a 50 kilograms without directions. So, the time, we have 5 seconds with no directions. The distance, we have 100 meters with no directions. And the energy, we have 100 joules with no directions. And the density, we have 2.5 grams or centimeters with no directions. And the volume, we have 10 liters with no directions. Now, we're going now to see the example of vectors. So these are the examples of vector. So the velocity have a 600 kilometers or hectares to east, and with a magnitude and their magnitude is the 60 kilometers or hectares, and their directions is downward. So as you can see, the vectors have a magnitude and directions, but the sectors is no directions. It's only have the magnitude. So the second one is, the accelerations. As you can see, the accelerations have a 9.8 meter per second squared to downwards. So and their magnitudes is 9.8 meter per second squared, and their direction is 2 downwards. So let's proceed to the third ones. The third one is the force. As you can see, the force have a 10n of northward. So as you can see, their magnitude is the 10n and their direction is northward, right? So let's proceed. So the fourth one is displacements. So the displacements have 100 meters of northwest, and their magnitude is 10 meters, and their directions is northwest. And let's proceed. So the momentum have 20 kilograms of meter per second of southeast. So their magnitude is 20 kilogram of meter per second, and their direction is southeast. So that is all from their characteristic. So their characteristics, the scalar characteristic is no directions and measured using numbers only, and addition of subtractions follow the ordinary arithmetic rules. And the second one is the vector. So the characteristic of vector is has directions measured using magnitude and directions, and additional and subtractions follow the triangle law, vectors or vectors additions. So let's proceed to their distinguishing scalar and vectors quantities. So two differentials. The first one is check the directions. So scalar have no directions, and the vectors has a directions. And the second one, consider the measurement. So scalar have a magnitude only, but the vectors have a both magnitude and directions. And the third one is analyze operations. Scalar have a ordinary arithmetic, but the vector have additions. So let's proceed to the last part. So the everyday applications. So we're going to the navigations. So the navigations is understanding the velocity versus the speed of the scalar. And the second one is engineering. So why is engineering? So engineering is you're going to calculate the force of vectors or on the structures. And the third one is the physics. So it is important for physics because we're going to analyze of the motions of the vectors and of the energy of the scalar. So in conclusions, understanding the scalars and the vectors quantities is a crucial in physics, engineering, and real-world applications. And that is all. Thank you, sir.